What's up, YouTube? How's it going? Smoking a little Sleepy Hollow tonight. It's a cold night, you know, cold for Houston. And I'm getting ready to fly down to New Orleans to march with a crew of Chewbaccus. Smoking a little Sleepy Hollow. Not sure if I mentioned that or not. I think I did. I can't remember. Mm. You know, it felt appropriate to just kind of mark the occasion. Mm. Man, that's delicious. Just to mark the occasion, talk a little bit about this Mardi Gras crew that I'm about to be marching with, talk about the sub crew we've created for it. Now, I've got some things here, aside from my dwarf Cobbett pipe from our good friends at Missouri Meerschaum. Mm. Having some trouble getting this to stay lit. There we go. You know, a lot of times actually, I sit here, I enjoy my pipe a little bit before going live. But this is such a small bowl that I was like, well, let me just go ahead and hop on here real quick. Trade-off is I've got to light it like 30 times. All right, but no, y'all, it's about to be Mardi Gras season. It's about to be Mardi Gras season. So this goblet right here, this goblet actually is from the crew of Cork, which I think back in 2013, as the number would imply, I wasn't part of the parade, but I was invited to their ball, their gala, their big celebration they have afterwards by my uncle, who was a member of the crew of Cork. My uncle has since passed. He was very dear to me. He's very dear to a lot of people. He meant a lot. And actually, he is one of the very few family members I have that has actually come to a live Country Squire Radio. When we did the show in New Orleans from I guess the New Orleans Cigar Factory, he actually came in. I've talked about this on the show before, and he pulled like it was everybody's like, they had like chairs and tables everywhere, and everybody's kind of comfortably sitting around the shop. We're like right there at the opening with Dumaine is like right there, and and we've got our table, and we got our microphones, and we got our speakers, and we're recording. My uncle, this is just who he was. He just grabs a chair and just drags it straight up to our table and just sits right alongside of us. It's just like, you know, I'll never forget it. I was so embarrassed, but I also just love him for it. You know what I mean? He was just so excited and proud to be there. And anyway, he loved New Orleans. He's part of the reason why I love New Orleans. And yeah, so he invited. This is the actual right before my oldest daughter was born. My wife was very pregnant with her oldest. He invited us to come down for Crew Cork and come to the party. And so at the party, we got a goblet and a couple of specialty throws and everything, which we always hang up this time of year. So there's that. After he passed, I was also my other uncle, another uncle that I've got, was marching with Endymion. He was a member at the time and invited me to be part of that year's crew. And so I actually rode with Endymion. This was, oh goodness, a couple years ago, pre-pandemic. And yeah, that was big time. They're not a small crew. Then last year, I was with my siblings in New Orleans for my sister's birthday. And it just so happened, we didn't plan it this way, it just so happened that while we were there, the crew of Chewbaccus was marching. Now, I'd heard about Chewbaccus. Chewbaccus, a combination of Chewbacca, right, from Star Wars, and then also Bacchus, the god of wine. You know, a lot of these Mardi Gras crews, they've got different, deities and kind of all of these characters from mythological figures that they kind of, develop a crew around. And so it's funny because while we were watching this, it was great. They have not just Star Wars stuff, but they also had like, like Mario Kart and all these different little nerdy, geeky things. Well, so we watched this. We're enjoying the entire time, and we were thinking like, goodness, you got Endymion, you've got Chewbacca. Why isn't there a crew of Loki? There needs to be a crew of Loki. I mean, Mischief. I mean, he's already got the gold and the green and everything else. That's like two out of the three Mardi Gras colors right there. There needs to be a crew of Loki. And so my siblings and I got together and we thought, you know what? Let's make a crew of Loki. So this year, tomorrow, no, in 2 days, this Saturday, we will actually be marching down the streets of New Orleans as part of the crew of Chewbaccus in the sub crew of Loki. Now, I wanted to kind of, showcase a little bit of what my outfit's going to be, but I can't. I had something I wanted to show y'all, but I can't find it. It was kind of it's kind of hard to express, but basically, it's something that communicates instantly when you see me in this. It's like, that's a Loki right there. So that was kind of what I was going. I don't know where it went, but yeah. So we'll be rocking in the crew of Loki in New Orleans on Saturday, which will be a lot of fun. All right, no problem. This is actually why I'm not a big fan of smoking the pipe during the podcast, because you either like something suffers, either the content suffers or the pipe smoking suffers, and you gotta make trade-offs there, which is rough. Let's see, Tristan. Hello, hey, thanks for tuning in tonight. Need to get other comments. I absolutely love my wizard. Yeah, the wizard's a great one, man. You gotta love the wizard. Although I gotta tell you, I like the dwarf a lot. I mean, I know it's small, it's tiny. The cobbit itself is pretty tiny, but what I like about the dwarf, I just like that flat surface. It's almost like a little miniature country gentleman, which I think is great. I am struggling with keeping that lit, so I am going to put it to the side right now. Y'all, I'm surrounded by balsa shavings because I've been getting into wood carving, whittling a little bit, and I won't show it at the moment, but there's a mess here that I need to get cleaned up tonight. Let's see. Let's see. Macalo says enjoying the pipe. Yes, indeed. It's like I said, it's dwarf cobbit pipe and enjoying some Sleepy Hollow. Thought Sleepy Hollow would be appropriate. Sleepy Hollow obviously is a very Halloween-esque blend, but at the same time, Mardi Gras is kind of a Halloween unto itself. So I thought that seemed appropriate. Plus, I just like it, honestly. And from the last live I did when I was kind of pairing up the Blantons with the cellar, it was not a good pairing. So I wanted to have something a little bit more delicious. Let's see. Nice antennas. Can you pick up antennas? We don't have any antennas. I don't know what you're talking about there, Ron. Let's see. That's right. Loki, yeah, absolutely, man. We're doing. It should be a lot of fun. I'm kind of going as a kind of a custom costume, so to speak. I'm doing kind of King Loki as me. My brother is doing a variant Loki, and my sister is doing the Sylphie female Loki from the show. So it should be a lot of fun. See, Rob's saying thanks for the 10 great years of CSR. I appreciate and enjoyed it. More than I can say, a source of respite through some dark times over the years. Best wishes to all in your future endeavors, man. Rob, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you for tuning in, and yeah, we've got a couple of great episodes coming y'all's way here in the next couple of days or weeks, I should say. And actually, John David and I was talking about we recorded. We had recorded pretty much everything except for the last two episodes while we were in LA, but the wealth of emails that we've gotten in since the announcement has been so high, And one of the episodes I don't think really turned out the way that we had wanted it to. So I think we're going to toss one of the episodes we were planning on releasing and instead record kind of a mailbag episode prior to the final. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That's not a final decision. Let's see. I've been from Tristan. I've been exploring my local tobacconist blends recently. All good stuff so far. Yeah, you got to support your local brick and mortar. You gotta rock the local brick and mortar. Try them out, even if you're not necessarily feeling their blends. I think if you're a pipe smoker, if you enjoy pipe tobacco, you always want to kind of give a leg up to, or at least kind of a first right of refusal, so to speak, to your local tobacconist. I think that's important. And Keith is saying, love the horns. Horns. That's what I wanted to show y'all. I had some horns that I was going to wear for this costume. If only I can't. I had them out here somewhere. I don't know where they are. I don't know where they went to. Man. So Chewbaccus is interesting because they don't throw, beads in the traditional fashion. Almost everything is like a custom job, like some sort of custom throw. So for us, we created some bookmarks, some Loki inspired bookmarks. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks, Doc. Appreciate you, brother. Saying love the look, Loki with the Missouri Meerschaum. It's exactly what we're going for right there. Hmm. I had this concept of a pipe shape that I had pitched to a particular pipe manufacturer that was kind of a Thor inspired pipe, but nothing ever came from it, unfortunately. Let's see. Tristan saying I support local businesses as much as I can. There's a bonus that you don't have to pay for the shipping. That is also true. That is also another bonus there as well. Absolutely. So with this being the first official year for the crew of Loki, we're trying to figure out or the sub crew of Loki, I should say. We're technically the way that Chewbaccus works also is that you have kind of the main crew, which is the crew Chewbaccus, but it's comprised of sub crews. So yeah, exactly, Robin Mjolnir pipe. Um, and with the crew of Loki, we're trying to establish. I mean, this is our first year, kind of what our laws, our rules should be, that sort of thing. And I'm thinking, for parade weekend, the rules should be that all members of the crew of Loki must keep their horns on pretty much anytime you're in public until after the parade. Keith asking about the dwarf versus the wizard. So this is a dwarf. I like the dwarf a lot. Wizard, of course, is going to be a much larger bowl, so it's a very different smoking experience from that standpoint. But I mean, honestly, I think you should collect them all. I think the great thing about the Cobbett series is they are very kind of collector friendly, and each one really kind of serves a different purpose. I tend to prefer the dwarf as I guess kind of as an alternative to the Shire specifically, because it's a similar bowl shape. But it's perfect for like a small bowl of tobacco. Like for tonight, it's cold outside. I kind of debated making a fire. I decided not to. I was kind of like, hey, let me just kind of go enjoy my pipe real quick and hop on here. And so I was like, I know since I'm not going to be like overly comfortable out in this cold, I know I'm not going to be out for terribly long, but I do want to enjoy the smoke from the from the top to the bottom. And so I knew that going with the dwarf was the right way to do it. Then, of course, you got the benefit of the dwarves. They forged Mjolnir, and there's a lot of dwarves up in Norse mythology, so there's also a benefit from that standpoint. Uh, well, you say that, Keith, but the wizard's not. It's smaller than a MacArthur. He was talking about getting worn out with trying to smoke something with that larger ball. I don't. I could be wrong. Other than I don't think. Hmm. Well, I mean, it's a pretty big bowl. It's a pretty big bowl. I'll give you that. Let's see. Panface saying, "Hey Bo, quickly becoming the most prolific streamer in the YouTube pipe community. Can't stick around, but wanted to pop in and say hi." That, my friend, is definitely not true. That is absolutely not true. The YouTube pipe community has far predated our little channel right here, and I don't put out nearly the amount of content nor the quality that the rest of the YouTube pipe community does. This is just my excuse to come on here and hang out for a few minutes and say, hey. The Wizard is a solid hour to an hour. Okay, Tristan, thank you. Thank you for chiming in on that. Let's see. Solid hour to, solid hour to an hour and a half, depending on the blend and how fast you smoke it, in my experience. That's very helpful. That's good. Yeah, the Middle Earth sampler is the way to go, especially if you're rocking the Cobbit series for sure. But y'all, thank y'all so much. I know that I have been popping on here at kind of random intervals, and we'll probably continue to do so throughout the next couple of weeks. It's an emotional time for us with the decision to bring the show to a close. It's the right thing to do. We feel very strongly about it. We've got some really fun things planned, and as kind of debating and thinking through what we want to do for episode 500 and some areas we want to highlight. I mean, y'all have already actually been beneficial. I think in the last video, somebody mentioned, oh goodness, a reference to it was me spilling drinks, but it was something else that somebody else referenced, and I said I wasn't sure where that came from, and then somebody followed back up and gave us the specific episode where it came from. So having kind of these open conversations and kind of putting the thoughts out there, I think is helpful, and it's helping us craft the event and the content that hopefully y'all will enjoy, and we'll pay tribute to the show appropriately and to the community appropriately. Ron's talking about favorite series so far. Pipe Shop Fails. Yes, that seems to be seems to be a favorite of a lot of people. It is interesting, right? Because over the history of the show, we have very much been intentional about wanting to be very positive, like being a very positive show. And, you've probably heard me talk about this before, but there's so much, you think about like talk radio, and much of what talk radio was, especially when we were growing up, it's just rage. It's just people yelling and angry and everything else. And it's not healthy to listen to in so many regards. And so we wanted to put out something that was very positive. And that was part of the early philosophy of the show. And it's very rare that we do anything that would be considered negative, but the Pipe Shop and I think it's because it's easy. I think it can be very easy to build an audience based off of anger. You know what I mean? Rage it's very clickbaity. It's very, I don't know. I'm sure there's some sort of social science around it, but suffice to say, it can be very easy to do that. And I think we've seen that anytime that we've put out anything a little bit clickbaity like that, or, where we go a little negative from that standpoint, people eat that up. And so it's one of those things we've tried to be very careful with and only use as seasoning, but that's certainly been a big one. Let's see, Tristan, I personally think you should do a big old psych for episode 500 and at least go up to 1,000. Actually, what was I thinking about? It's funny you mentioned that. We're not going to do that. Somebody actually emailed into the show and has made a very, very thought out argument for why we shouldn't cancel the show. They really put a lot of work and effort into that, and they list out a lot of things that I'm like, yep, yeah, I thought about that. Yep, thought about their heads in the right place and their hearts in an even better place for sure. But now, episode 500 will be the last. Going out on top with well-earned pride in what you've done. Yeah, the feel of the show was unmatched. Your Christmas episodes are fantastic. Thank you, Keith. Yeah, yeah. We had some fun with that. I the Christmas episodes, the holiday episodes in particular, were always very fun to put together because it allows for an opportunity to, just to have some fun as opposed to like, well, we got to talk about this topic or, we just break from format, do something a little bit differently. And and that one in particular, I had the concept, and I remember because this year the way that we've done it is me and John David will have a touch base prior to meeting up wherever we record. And I remember and I'll pitch him like, the episodes essentially and just, make sure he's on board for him, present him with the areas that he needs to research, all that kind of good stuff. At some point, maybe I should do like a full on behind the scenes in terms of like how we made this show. That might be helpful to some. But anyway, so yeah, I remember kind of pitching on that. I was like, no, no, no. You need to pick out a pipe tobacco that's no longer here, a pipe tobacco that's here, and then kind of speculate on something of like the future. And I'm going to tell a story around it. And, the great thing is we've been doing this so long. He's like, yep, good, done, got it. Didn't need any more explanation than that. And so when we actually got down to it and I essentially ad-libbed that whole thing while we were recording, he was just eating it up, which is always great. It's always like, sometimes John David can be very, very, very by the books, and sometimes he'll go along with the imagination, and so he was right along for the ride. So that was a lot of fun. That was a fun one this year. But y'all, I like I mentioned before, it's a bit chilly out here, so I'm about to head in. But I did want to kind of come and just mark the moment as I'm about to be heading out to New Orleans. I will be probably posting some videos and pictures and stuff. I'm thinking I'll probably throw it up on Instagram. Uh, I can confirm, Rob, that Country Squire Radio is not moving to Hulu. I can confirm that. I can't speak to the rumors that we've been in discussions with, the executives at Hulu and ABC. I want to say I can't remember who owns Hulu. Anyway, point is, I can't confirm or deny the insane amounts of money they waved in front of us, and just absolutely insane amounts of money. I can't confirm or deny, whether or not we were going to be able to have like the only stage in Los Angeles and New York, because I can't confirm or deny this, but they may have been talking about multiple stages. The only ones where you could actually smoke on stage. That would have been interesting if it had happened, which I can't confirm or deny that it did. So, yeah. Oh man. Well, y'all, thank y'all so much. I'm gonna be heading out. Y'all have a good one, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye, guys.